I know.
I know people have different definitions of responsible,
but I want to break it. I want to break it down. Like, do you consider yourself fully adulted? Welcome back to our second episode of In Comes the
Money.
All right, second episode. This is cool.
Yeah.
So,
sorry guys, I don't know why he looked at me like that. For those of you guys listening, he just gave me this weird look.
I gotta look it back at the footage. I don't know what look I gave you.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so the topic that we have today, it's been trending for quite a while. It has different meanings.
Probably years it's been trending.
Yeah. It's a fairly new word, I think. And you hear it quite often. Really building this word up. Do you want to just get to the point?
Yeah, so the topic for today is adulting.
Okay, adulting.
Yep. But before we get into that, we actually have our super fun segment called Would You Rather?
Would you rather?
So I'm going to read them. So the first one is, would you rather stay the age you are physically forever or stay the way you are now financially forever? I'll let you choose yours.
Okay.
And guys, when we choose this, he doesn't let me know his answer.
No
matter how hard, we don't even talk about it. I'm like, is this one good? And then he's like, okay, yeah, let's do that one. But I don't know what he's going to choose. I have an idea, but I have to find out with you guys.
It's better that way. It's so much better when you don't know. I don't know.
I think
it's a surprise.
I think he likes the surprise. I know the first one we did.
That was a surprise.
It was a surprise, and I looked surprised because I was sure, and then he said something different. And then I was like, wait, what?
And I was sure she was gonna say one thing, and she did say one thing, and then she switched it up on me. And guys, you gotta watch it. She made me so sad.
Yeah. So definitely. So watch it on YouTube. You can listen to the audio, but seeing our facial expressions is priceless. And we'll have it on our social media too, just that segment. But if you want to watch kind of the lead up to it, you can do that on YouTube also.
Yeah. Okay. So back to
this one. Okay, I'll say them again just in case we forgot. So would you rather stay the age you are physically forever or stay the way you are now financially forever? So you can choose. You can say yours first.
The question is worded a little wrong. I think stay the age you are. Actually, yeah, no, that makes sense. Stay the age that you are physically forever. Does that mean your physical shape is always the same? You don't got to work out? Because that sounds kind of good. And then stay the way you are financially.
I think so. How old are you? 29?
29, yeah.
So you'd stay 29 forever, I think.
And I'll physically look 29. I'll just look like this, and I'll be 90 years old.
Mm-hmm. Or 200 or 300, whatever.
Okay.
Or would you rather stay the way you are now financially forever?
You know what?
Because you never know, but you never know what's going to happen. That's the only thing. Because like forever is a long time.
Yeah. Okay. I know what I'll go with.
All right. What you going with?
I'll go with, I'll stay the age that I am.
I knew it.
Physically forever.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
Yeah, because you're going to be 29.
I didn't even know. I didn't know what I was going to choose.
I knew you were going to choose that.
Okay, here's why. So staying the same way financially forever, I don't know. I think I want to grow financially.
So my thing is, so I probably may have said financially forever, but I think I'm going to go with the age physically forever, mainly because, you know, with inflation and like, I feel like staying the same way I am financially won't it won't align with the future times. Because if I'm living
Yeah.
forever, like 5,000 years from now, and I'm making however much I make now, it's not,
Yeah.
it might not even matter. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I'd rather look. I think I look good right now.
I think so too.
Thanks.
I think it'll be discouraging. Like, there's a reason why we get raises, because we want
Yeah.
to feel validated for the amount of effort that we put in. So if you put in 10 times more effort next year than you did this year, you want the rewards of 10 times the effort. And if you just stay the same,
But
your bank account but if it's the same forever, does that mean like you get free food and it doesn't fluctuate? It doesn't matter?
What do you mean free food?
Because your bank account won't change. I think I'm looking into it too deep.
I think you are too. It just means like the money that you have now and the things that you can buy, that'll still be kind of the same. Like,
That's just good budgeting, right? I could do that
well, no, not necessarily, because it also might be assuming that you have the same job and stuff too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just want to look at the same.
It's not appealing. Yeah. Stay the same age. And I mean, because I don't like going to the gym like that either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as I start getting older and I have more of a gut.
So this is what he looks like not going to the gym, guys. And I do hate him because I have to work out a lot. And
I go for walks and stuff.
the look I gave him. Oh my gosh.
And our son keeps me physically
Oh
fit.
my gosh. Bye. Goodbye.
So I be playing.
So what am I
whatever.
doing? Why do I have to go to the gym multiple times a week?
Hey, I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
All right. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, tell us, would you rather stay the age you are physically forever, or stay the way you are financially forever? Because we do want to know. So please leave a comment for that.
Yes. Okay. So that's our would you rather. All right. So adulting is a big topic because everyone has an opinion about adulting. I see it in blogs and whatnot. So we're just going to talk about what it is. So what do you think it is?
So I actually Googled it.
Okay.
So adulting is the practice of behaving in a way characteristic of a responsible adult. So it sounds pretty simple, but it just is saying, being responsible and being an adult. How do you feel about that?
And you got this from the official Google, like the way you said it was like
I just typed it in Google. You guys could do the same thing. I literally put define adulting, and then it said,
it just sounded
adulting.
so funny. So I got it from Google.
Yes, Google told me. Google is the source of all things. Anything we want to research.
Google is a great friend. It's helped me out in so many situations where I just feel so smart because you got whatever kind of knowledge you need, it's right there.
When you want to know how to define adulting, you can Google it.
Yes. Okay. Anyway, back to the definition. You said the practice of behaving in a way characteristic of a responsible adult.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I did bold and underline responsible.
Yeah.
I think that was the most important part.
So, how do you know you're behaving in a way that resembles an adult?
Stop. You know what responsible means.
I know.
I know people have different definitions of responsible,
but I want to break it. I want to break it down. Like, do you consider yourself fully adulted?
Yeah, I do. I feel like I didn't even really think of it as adulting. I just thought of it as like being independent, because independence is really important to me. But like, if I do look at the, adulting and what, adults typically do and are responsible for, I think I'm doing it. I will say that I probably didn't really fully adult, I guess, to my standards, really until after I was married. I know that's really weird, but we got married really young. I was 22. I was 22 and you were 25.
Sounds right.
Yeah. So I literally went from living with my parents to being married. And I almost feel like, well, I know that if we didn't meet and it wasn't like leading to marriage the way it was, I probably would have moved out and got my own apartment and then began my path to fully adulting. But I think even getting married and like us being together as a unit, we like adulted together. So I feel like
adulted together. we might have to talk about that later.
What do you mean?
Adulting together.
I mean, well, think about it. You get married and you're a partner with that person. And then it's not necessarily just you behaving responsibly as an adult. Like you guys both as a unit make decisions. So you're both behaving responsibly as an adult, hopefully. Because, you know, you're going to need to manage your finances. You're going to need to eat and somebody's going to be making the food probably, you know, so it's not just the burden.
Mom and Dad.
So stop it. The burden isn't just on one person to do everything for both people. So it's kind of like a partnership. And like you're kind of like one person adulting together in some ways.
Got it. Okay. So what made you feel like you were actually adulting?
You mean
I guess
after we got married or before?
Well, I think I feel like it's a process where maybe after you got married you felt fully adulted, but the process started earlier. So what were certain things that made you feel like there's evidence of me adulting?
I think a lot of it would be the independence. I think being fully separated from like my parents. So in my like early adulthood, I was, you know, obviously still living at home. And then I was increasingly paying for more things, but obviously, you know, I was still living with them. So that main like living expense was still not something I had to do. And I feel personally that that's a huge part of like my fully adulting, like Deniqua fully adulting is being able to you know, just fully support myself. So like pay all of my bills independently, and really just fund my lifestyle. So I feel like it didn't happen until after I was married, but it probably would have still happened if I didn't get married.
So do you think it's because you benefited from certain things that required someone to have responsibility to take care of? But you felt like you weren't at the forefront of making that happen or being responsible for the mortgage and the food that's on the table and all of that. So when you felt in the forefront of those processes, that's when you felt like it was, I guess your life was more in your control.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, like I didn't have to worry about like cooking dinner. I didn't have to worry about paying rent. I didn't have to worry about grocery shopping. Like I would literally come home and then my dad or my mom would have a fridge full of food. Like I didn't have to worry about those things. And I think my dad was still paying my car insurance at the time. I can't even remember. Like they were paying for a lot of things, like things that in retrospect, it was nice to have them pay for, to be honest. But, you know, it's just now I'm responsible for everything that I want and need.
Yeah. I think early on, I always felt like I had a lot to prove. So although I didn't have, you know, I wasn't paying mortgage or nothing like that at home. And I was actually very fortunate to have, great supportive parents. So shout out to our parents. We love you. You guys taught us how to adult because, you know, we learn it from the adults in the house. So thank you. We love you.
We do.
But yeah, I always felt like I had a lot to prove. So, I started a business with my brother really young, and that's a very early experience of handling our own finances, I guess. Got to put gas in the car. I'm not going to ask mom and dad for gas in the car for our thing. Like we want to go out and do this. So we got to take care of that. But we did have a lot of support. So I feel like, yes, I did start the process of adulting, but it's also okay to have support while
So
you're in that adulting process.
So it sounds like you started adulting like before you were an adult because you started behaving more responsibly and taking care of things for
Yeah.
yourself.
And for me, what it looked like was I felt like I was an old head because I was trying
An
to
old
be
head.
because I felt like I was trying to be responsible and or be responsible for the decisions that I make and just for my life, because I don't like to blame anyone for anything bad that happens in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like there's probably something that I could have done to help prevent it. And if it wasn't, I can't blame you or anyone. It's just things happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I guess because I one, I don't blame anyone for bad things that happen in my life, and two, I just feel like I have a lot to prove. Even after I've proved it, I just keep trying to prove.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess that helped me establish some sort of responsibility.
Okay, so you when would you say you really started adulting? Like, was that in your teenage years? Was that in your 20s? Like, what, or did it like, was it a little bit adulting at first and then it just became increasingly
Yeah.
more?
So I think it was, I had the mindset of a learning, growing adult back in high school without the opportunities of an adult. So yes, I wasn't paying mortgage or anything like that, but I felt like um, the, I mean, the school that I was at, it was great, but I felt like I was limited in the sense that I just want to get out. It could have been any school. I just looked at it like this is a building that I need to finish these years off in this building so that I can explore the world and show the world what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
As cheesy as it sounds, like that's how I felt.
I mean, it was a means to an end. You needed to complete your education in
Yeah,
order to
exactly.
move
I
forward.
I felt like I'm right now I'm just a kid in school. I need opportunities that an adult has so that I can prove myself. It's all going back to I want to prove myself to everybody, to my family, to the world, just to myself.
Some of that just sounds like you were just waiting to be 18, though.
I was waiting to, yeah, I was waiting to, well, not just 18, just like waiting to have opportunities that everyone else has so that I can,
What do you mean by that? What opportunities that everyone else has? I don't understand that statement.
so when I was in high school, there was this book that I read called Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Oh my gosh.
It's
This
a
is
great
his
book.
story. This is story time, guys.
I mean, it's not that long. It's not long.
It's about to be story time.
No, it's real short. I discovered this book and it taught me to expand my mind a little bit about how I look at money, how I look at assets and liabilities, and now knowing what those are, what kind of opportunities should I be looking for, so that I can have good financial health. So
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be financially literate. I wanted to be financially free,
Mm-hmm.
because I saw too often people just living paycheck to paycheck within the rat race. And I mean, these are adults. These are smart adults, but they're still trapped in a rat race and not happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to see if I can get out of that mindset of I'm never getting out of this 9 to 5. I'm never getting, or even if you could love your 9 to 5, but if you feel like it's a trap, then something's not right.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to get out of the mindset of you're stuck with the way your finances are, but there's so many other ways to get out of it.
So how did you do it?
Well, I said to myself I was going to get a real estate license as soon as I turned 18. That was a goal. And I wasn't rushing it because what I really wanted to do was get a investment property. Because
Mm,
I mean, you could have any job, and you could also be a landlord. And I
mm.
looked at it like, huh, that makes a lot of sense because I want my money to not be lazy. Every dollar should have a job. And
Wait, but you don't have to be an agent to be a landlord.
no, you don't. You
So,
don't. But I wanted to learn about it. So
mm,
I felt like in order for me to feel well versed in this topic, I would want to buy sell houses and help people buy sell houses, and then I'll feel like, huh, okay, I know enough so that I can make the best decision for my own, because I took these courses and I've been working alongside a mentor, this and that. And mind you, this is like high school before exploring other options,
mm.
and obviously I didn't go down that route. I didn't even, yeah, I guess I forgot about it completely when I went to college.
So you just brought up an interesting topic that I think is really cool. So even before you were really like adulting, and then also as you were adulting, you kind of had a vision or a plan of what you wanted your life to look like, or even just your next few years to look like. And I feel like that's a really important part that's missing in a lot of people as they start adulting,
Hmm.
that they don't necessarily know what the future looks like for them, what they want, or at least what they want their future to look like.
Yeah.
Like where do they want to be? Where do they see themselves?
Hmm.
A lot of people just look at the right now.
Yeah.
And it's so important because how will you know, like, so much time could pass and you could not even realize that you haven't made steps towards a
Yeah.
goal, or you may have just remained stagnant for years because you didn't plan anything.
And it's not your fault. Like, it's so hard to get your life together if
It's
you
so hard to
don't.
even just figure out what you wanna do.
Yeah, because like when you're born, you don't get a book, a guide to life.
Mhm.
Those guides are in the form of your parents if you're blessed to have them in your life
But
as
not just
parental figures,
your parents,
and your
your
community.
community, your
Yep.
friends, family,
Yep.
your churches, your teachers in school. Like, it's really important to use your network to and to just really learn from other people.
Yep.
Like, there's so much value. Like, you always say that you like to learn from other people's mistakes.
Yeah, I'd happily learn from your mistake, anyone's mistake, because like, and thank you for going through that experience so that I could learn from it. Um, and if I've made mistakes, I mean, it's not gonna take anything away from me to share my experience with you, so that you can learn from it. So definitely, yeah, yeah, share your experiences and learn from other people's experiences because it's like a shortcut. If you don't
Exactly.
have to go through all the pain, don't.
Yeah. And you know what? And I feel like we are technically supposed to be learning adulting from our parents, but oftentimes, sometimes they didn't learn adulting, I guess, the way they would have liked to growing up. And then, back generations, the same thing. So there are times where you don't necessarily learn some of the things that you would have liked to from your parents, or from your teachers, or from
Hmm.
your community. But that's when it's really helpful to just go out and look for those answers to find, like, really what you should do next.
Hmm.
I remember, just graduating from high school and realizing that, a lot of things in school, specifically life skills, were missing. And
Oh yeah.
they're a huge part of adulting. And like, I did learn some things from my parents, but like, you like no one is ever going to be able to give you a complete comprehensive guide to what you need to do as soon as you graduate high school, as soon as you graduate college. Like, a lot of things you do need to learn by doing, and some of them you learn by, other people's failures. But I truly believe that if you can't, if you haven't gotten the answers from somewhere else, all hope is not lost. You can get them, and you can start whenever, as soon as you realize that you need to make an improvement with wherever you're at.
Yeah. I think we, as new parents, we have like a really, really important job because if if we, let's say your child has like unlimited potential, right? Like they could end up becoming anybody,
Mm-hmm.
anything, and they that potential isn't nurtured, and it's just, we don't nurture it, we don't help guide that child, then that can make the difference between the kid not achieving anything and not being responsible as an adult, and that person becoming the next president of the United States or something.
Mm-hmm.
um and it's just really, it's a lot of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about this thing that my dad used to always say, where um he would say, I want to put you on my shoulders so that you can see even further than me.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, yeah.
Put
Yeah.
all you guys on his shoulders, though. He can't fit you all.
Just stack
Just one
everybody
at a
up.
time.
Yeah. Well, I guess, I don't know. I don't know.
I know it's not
You shouldn't.
literal.
You're
It's
not supposed to think about it too deep.
I'm a literal person.
We're all just on his shoulders at the same level. All the kids. But yeah, and just thinking about that now as a father, I'm thinking about ways that I can be, um, I guess, a good guide, a selfless guide.
The best resource you can be to your children.
Exactly. Just give your children as much as you can give them as possible, because I mean, you brought them to like, they didn't ask to be born.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, until they can be responsible for themselves, they're your responsibility. So do your best to make sure that they have a good chance at life, because they don't come with a guidebook. You are that guidebook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So the process of adulting starts with your parents, the guide that's at your house, and then I guess it could expand to the community, the village, the school you go to, because you're going to school like almost every day.
Mm-hmm.
So that can also like contribute to the type of adult that you end up becoming.
Exactly. And there is something else we should mention. Like, we're talking about like what adulting looks like in our lives, but it looks different for different people. Like, even just for example, like some people might say adulting means that you have to make all your meals. And someone else could say it really just means being able to afford all your meals, whether
Mm-hmm.
you eat inside the house or you eat out, because some people really just like to eat out. And if they want to afford a lifestyle where they eat out every meal and they can do that, they're still an adult, guys.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly. So, and if you just really think about the fact that someone may even think about phone plans. So,
Mm-hmm.
some of these phone plans are so expensive, and some families are, even as the children are adults, sometimes it's cheaper for them to all stay on the plane together and the
Yep.
parents still pay. Does
Oh
that mean
man.
they're not an adult?
What about Netflix? There's so
Netflix,
much Netflix passwords,
Prime,
Hulu
and Hulu.
being shared.
So, so I will say, at least in my family, like literally, like each person will have an account to something and then we'll share each other. So like you'll have multiple screens and we're sharing amongst the family. Like, but I don't consider us not adulting because
Nah.
my mom pays for Netflix and we
Mm-hmm.
use it still. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But like some people might be like, well, you're not paying all your bills. So it's like, it literally like you define what responsible means to you, and no one can tell you that you're not a responsible adult. Like that's how you define that. And if you would like to be more responsible, there are things you can do and steps you could take so that you can become more, I guess, self-sufficient, if we want to
Mm-hmm.
use that word.
Yeah. So don't let other people tell you that you're not an adult because you're not adulting the way they're adulting.
Mm-hmm.
So
But wait, I have some questions. I'm just curious what you say. So if you still live at home,
mm-hmm.
are you adulting?
Yeah. That's one like variable because I feel like it might make the most sense for you to still live at home.
Mm-hmm.
Like it it might make the most financial sense and you're responsible.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like you could be in
I agree.
college. You could be stacking up your money and you're you live in the basement or you live in the same room that you lived in since you were
Mm-hmm.
born. But you're an adult, maybe like maybe you take responsibility. You're not a burden on the house and the family and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't feel like you're just a big baby in the house that just eats and
And I mean, honestly, some cultures, they expect you to live at home until you're married.
hmm
And it's like, it could be taboo if you leave because they're like, where are you going?
yep
You're
and
not married. Where are you going?
yeah like growing up that's how it was seen as well.
Hmm.
Like where you think you're going?
See, but not here. It's like, all right, you got that job. You can support yourself. Goodbye.
Yeah the Haitian culture is different. It's different because I guess because we grow up in close, tight knit villages
Hmm.
that I guess
If you did leave, you'd leave and go down the street. You might as well
yeah,
stay
you
at that
might as well stay. Like we're all here. We're all
point.
here. We could help each other out. Why do you want to leave?
So I think the thing is, like, sometimes in some households, you can never really feel like an adult as long as you
Mm,
stay there. So let's really break that down because think about it. If you live in your parents' household, it's really their house. So they
hmm
have the ability to set
The
household
rules,
rules.
the
And they
guidelines.
could be like, you may think they're absurd, but if you're paying all the bills and you say, um, laundry can only be done on the weekends. I want to turn my alarm on by 10. I
hmm
need to have no loud music after 9 o'clock. Like they
Or
could
the
literally
type of music. Let's say
exactly.
you like I don't know rap and you like it real loud, and your parents do not like that stuff. They just want to listen to gospel music every day.
You could never feel
You
comfortable
can never
playing.
feel comfortable playing it.
Mm-mm.
But I think there's also like a I guess adults living under the same roof. I guess sometimes you need a little bit of a healthy distance to like so that you because for you to be comfortable
But that's the thing, like you're not supposed to be comfortable like that. You know what I mean? Because
because you got to follow someone else's
it's
rules,
not
right?
really yours. You know what I mean? Like it's yours, but it's not because it's they have the ability to set the tone of their household. Like they
hmm
can make whatever rules because it's theirs.
Yeah.
And when it starts to get like uncomfortable or you feel like your growth is stifled, then it might be time to move out. Like as long as you can afford it,
hmm
like that's part of leading towards increasing responsibility and getting that independence. Because to me, the adulting, like, it really just sounds like another word for independence.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
Or yeah. I think so. I think it's a little more like independently being independent and taking responsibility for yourself and your
Well, if you're
life.
independent, who else would take responsibility for it?
I don't know. I don't know. I just felt like the definition needed more more to it.
I don't
Adulting
know.
means independence.
Yeah, I just feel like adulting is like it's just like the new phrase they're using for like
Growing up,
just
being
being an independent like adult. I mean, but I don't know, because you can have independence as like a couple, like even if you're married,
mhm.
you're an independent like unit, but like you don't have that independence as long as you like live under someone's house and under someone's rules. Like you're not independent.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
What if you're
No?
independent but you're irresponsible? Are you adulting? That's what I mean. Like you don't take care
Oh
of
my gosh.
nothing. Your bills are unpaid. You're not even in a
Great,
home, but
great
you're
question.
independent.
Great question. Um,
Would you look at that guy like, oh, he's adulting, right?
He's independent. I
He's
mean, but
independent.
everybody has different definitions of adulting. People have different definitions of
So that's
independence too.
complete for you, though.
All right, fine. It's responsible independence. Does that
Yes,
sound better?
I
Oh my
like that.
gosh.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
Pound that.
Oh
Cool.
my gosh.
Um,
Stop it.
okay. So, do you feel like you've adulted completely? You feel like there's a lot more?
Yeah, I will say it was a little weird going from living at home with my parents, going right to being married. Um, I will say that I'm not embarrassed to say that I didn't know how to do a lot of things. I did know how to do laundry though, guys. That was really important. But cooking was like, if you guys are watching on YouTube, you can see my facial expression. But if you're not, um, yeah, I was not. I cooking was pretty much non-existent for me. My husband Pekens was
I,
he
s-
was
I stood right by her.
he was worried. I told him, I was like, I don't really know, like, but like I'm a firm believer, like there are recipes I can learn, and I did. I learned to cook. I cook great, but I
She
just
does. She does. I
yeah.
mean, there was reason for concern in the beginning, but luckily she's a quick learner. She knows how to use Google, and we
Yeah,
got an
I can
instant pot.
yeah, I can remix some recipes and I love the Instant Pot we got. And I'm not even gonna lie, like I don't even know if I really know how to cook rice regularly. That's not in the Instant Pot. I know it sounds crazy, but like I have an Instant Pot now. Why do I need to make rice the regular way? Like I literally just use the Instant Pot. We have it like twice a week at least.
This is actually the second time we've mentioned instant pot on our
And
second
I
episode. We
know.
really should be sponsored by
We
instant pot.
literally, I think last time we had sorry, I'm literally thinking like last time we just had this conversation, I'm pretty sure I made something in the Instant Pot that day too, and I made something today.
Hmm.
So I just love them, guys. We have two, and they didn't sponsor the show, but if you would like to sponsor Instant Pot, I would love free stuff.
You know what? We might do like an affiliate link in the description below or something.
Because I love my Instant Pot, and there are so many more Instant Pot things that I will buy. But yeah, it's one of those things that like I truly believe that if you can save yourself time, that doesn't make you less of an adult because you're doing other things. It's the same way I mentioned, if you decide to buy your meals instead of making them, you're saving time. Yes, you're paying more money for your food, most likely, but you're saving time. And like with the Instant Pot, I can throw the food in there and it could be a one pot meal. And or when I have two going, I'll make
Hmm.
rice and then chili or stew in the other one. And then I'm off doing something else and I come back and it's literally done.
You just release the pressure. You could have rice and beans in the same pot. It's yeah. It could be a lifesaver,
Exactly. And
a
like
time saver too.
part of adulting is you have so many other things to worry about. So like I I have a husband and a son, like, I don't and they need to eat, like, good food, but I don't I don't always wanna, be standing in front of the stove for hours to make a meal, so that's where things like that come in handy, and, of course, ordering food, but if you are able to find other ways to make your adulting easier, do it. Like we said, you get to define what adulting looks like in your life, and for me, it means not making rice, except in the Instant Pot.
And it works. I mean the rice tastes great. My brother who is a awesome cook. He does it the regular way
The
and
Haitian way.
the Haitian way, and it takes a while, but it tastes great. And he wasn't a believer of the instant pot, and then I said, you know what,
Yeah.
come taste it. And then he was like, you didn't make this in
You
the
know what?
instant
Your
pot.
dad too.
He yeah, he does
That's
like it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it passed the test with some Haitians that love rice, and we made the rice in the instant pot, and they were like, "This is
They
great."
approved.
They approved. So that leads me to another question. Um, so the instant pot helped you adult. What
Um,
if you didn't have the instant pot?
you know what I just realized?
What?
I got the Instant Pot before we got married.
Really?
Yes, it was on Amazon Prime Day. Remember, I was like, oh, we need a pressure cooker. And I was like, well, this does it all. I was like, it has all these features. And then I was like, well, we are going to a one bedroom apartment. I was like, we don't need a crock pot, an instant, like, we don't need a billion things. I was
Mhm.
like, let's just get the Instant Pot. I was like, it's a good deal. It's Prime Day.
You
This
love
was
good
like a
deals.
month before we got married, and I was
Mhm.
buying appliances. So I was already starting to adult, guys. I was buying appliances. That's legit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did help me adult. And I think getting married pushed me to adult more,
Hmm.
but I would have done it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie. Like if we didn't meet the time we did and get married, I would have moved out and got my own place, and I would have
You would have gotten an Instant Pot.
probably. But I would have already made steps. And some people, like, if if we if we got married and like had a kid right away and I decided to stay home, I do still believe that I would have been adulting,
Hmm.
just us together at adulting, like figuring out like our finances, budgeting, saving, doing meals together, all of those things. I feel like it just I don't know, it just would have happened.
Yeah. So, um, when people talk about adulting, and you like they post it on social media or whatnot, like they'll say something like, "I didn't eat a TV dinner today. I made salmon." Hashtag adulting. Right? That kind of implies that if you didn't make a fancy salmon dinner, then you aren't adulting if you do it like a shortcut or an easy way or
Mhm.
something like that. Um, well, what do you think about that? And what does that mean for people who are actually, they feel like responsible adults? They don't always eat salmon dinners.
I I mean, I get what that person is saying, but really it's kind of their standard. They feel like the TV dinner, they feel like they can do more for themselves.
Hmm.
And when they don't, they feel like they're not adulting. So that when they do finally make themselves a healthy meal where they know everything that's inside, they feel like they're behaving more responsibly.
Hmm.
Because I think there is that element of making good, healthy lifestyle decisions, exercising, eating right, like those things that, people should be doing as adults.
Hmm.
So, but I don't necessarily think that just because they were eating TV dinners that they're not adulting, but I mean, they weren't adulting to their standards when they were.
Mm.
That's the way I kind of feel it is.
That makes sense. So it's based on perspective.
Yeah, so I feel like other people taking offense to people's standards of, because this is like an informal term. Like,
Hmm.
although we Googled it and they said that like this is what adulting means, it's kind of like you can define it for yourself.
So we shouldn't look at adulting as based on a definition from someone else, but we should define it for ourselves.
Exactly.
So, how it looks to you, how do you feel responsible for your life? How do you best feel responsible for your life? And what does that look like? So, identify that. And then you say, okay, that means I take care of my body, I exercise, because no one else is going to do that for me. No one else is
Mm-mm.
going to run with my legs. And
Or walk and just be in shape.
or that, yeah, walking takes effort too. I mean, you got to take responsibility to move your legs and go to work and do whatever you got to do. Um, so if that to you means you're a responsible adult and you eat at McDonald's for every meal and you're okay with it, hey, who's to judge you?
Mhm.
Who's to say you're not an
Some people
adult?
just love McDonald's.
And that's fine.
That's all preference.
It's all preference. I mean, I can't say that's not adulting. So if someone puts out a picture saying, you know, I made a home cooked meal tonight and didn't eat McDonald's today. Hashtag adulting. That's adulting from their perspective. For you, I mean, you could keep eating at McDonald's if that makes more sense for you. It
Exactly.
really depends. Like maybe you can't afford it right now.
Mhm.
Actually, that's adulting. If you're saving your money so that you can end up eating steak dinners later on.
Well, you're making responsible choices for yourself. That's whatever that means for you, for sure.
So, are there any like universal adulting characteristics, you think? Because we have the
Uh,
specifics, but like there has to be something that can identify, okay, that is definitely a responsible adult versus that guy is not adulting.
Honestly, I would say planning maybe and budgeting. Okay, so the planning, having enough thoughtfulness to think about the future, even if it's just tomorrow, um, and planning out, like, let's say, like a meal, or planning out like your work, or like the job you're gonna get, where you're gonna live. You know what I mean? Just like having that kind of thoughtfulness,
Okay.
I think is important. And then the budgeting, I feel like that's something that technically you don't even have to be an adult. Like you can kind of adult before you're actually an adult. Like
Which is good.
there are teenagers that technically exhibits more of these adult characteristics than some adults,
You know, that's actually much better because you don't want to just be thrown out into the world and you're not prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of us, it happens to a lot of us where we have no idea what's happening. We haven't been prepared for the real world, and we've memorized some stuff in our textbooks,
The
and
outdated textbooks.
we have no idea what we're doing. We don't know how to um I don't know, get a credit card. We don't know how to pay our bills. We don't know how to
Save
save
money.
money. And I mean, where else do you learn that?
But see, and that's those are the what you just described is all the planning things.
Hmm.
Like the planning because, oh, I have to pay, like if you have to pay, let's say you only have to pay one bill and it's like, I don't even know, your cell phone bill. Like you need to plan to make sure that when it's time to pay that bill, that you have that $50. You know what I mean? I feel like planning has to be a universal adulting, because whether you're planning something simple like what you're going to eat for your next meal,
Hmm.
or whether you're planning how you're going to get to work. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it sounds so simple, but like if you're taking the bus, if you have a
Hmm.
car, if you have a bike, you have to plan and have enough foresight to say, I'm going to wake up this time to, take the bus, or to, hop on my bike to get there in time, or I'm going to buy a bike
Hmm.
so I can, you know what I mean? Like all of these things, like they all require like forethought.
Okay. I like how you broke that down. Planning and budgeting. So if you don't plan, you're basically leaving that responsibility to someone else. So
No,
let
no one
right?
else.
Or,
no one's
or
gonna
no one.
no one's gonna wake you up for work. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You
So
didn't set that alarm.
if you don't do that and you expect someone else to do it or no
Uh-huh.
one to do it, then that doesn't exhibit good characteristics of an adult.
Mhm.
Okay.
You don't like that?
No, no, no. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense because everything you do requires someone to um, take ownership of that responsibility.
It
Whether it's you waking up, you going to work, you eating.
There's that transition. So think about when you're really a kid, like let's say you're 5 years old, or even like our son's age when you're 1 year old, like he doesn't have to plan anything.
He is a baby.
We
He is
go in
far
there
from
and we
adult.
tell him what time to wake up. We tell
Mhm.
him what he's going to eat. Well, sometimes he tells us what he doesn't eat, but you get what we mean.
He
Um
demands that we feed him.
so yeah, we wake him up, we tell him what he's going to eat, what he's going to wear, where he's going to go. Like he has no like say in the
Yeah,
plans. And that
it just
that
happens.
shift, that adulting shift. I mean, parents give their kids increasing responsibility where they get to
Hmm.
choose what they wear and everything. But for the most part, the parents decide where the kids go, and what else? What else do parents, like as the kids get older,
It
what are they parents still responsible for? Like what they
um
eat?
what they eat, where they sleep,
Mm-hmm.
where they go.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to go here. You're not allowed to go there. Um, who they hang out with
Yeah.
to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what else is decided for you? They can have influence on what you do and what you,
I mean, anything that involves money that they're paying for, they
yeah.
kind of dictate what the money goes
So
to.
even like doing sports and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Your time, just your time in general, your
eh,
parents dictate your time.
yeah, yeah. What you what you believe too.
Yeah.
You know, like
Your
you.
life's kind of planned out for the first 18 years, basically. And then you get to plan after that. You
Hmm.
get to, you're responsible for the planning of your life
Yeah.
once you start adulting.
So if you don't perform certain adulting tasks and they are somehow delegated, are you still adulting? Let me give you an example.
You were responsible for them. So based on what you just said, you were responsible and you decided to delegate them. Um, but what that sounds is like you can take them back. So you still have control over them.
So let's say somehow um, you you live on your own, but somehow you got people delivering food. You got good friends
People
delivering
delivering food.
food
Well, that sounds
for you for
nice.
every
I would
meal.
like some food delivered.
Some nice food every meal. You're not paying for it, but they just you got good friends and
That
they just
sounds
give you.
like it.
Is that person adulting?
I mean, they're getting gifts. Do gifts make you not an adult anymore? I love gifts.
I guess that is a smart adult. The way they figured that out.
If you have friends that are so thoughtful that will send you food care packages. I mean, some people do have friends like that. That just cuz,
Mm,
you know? But I
yeah,
think they're still adulting. It sounds a little manipulative, but
it does. Yeah, it does. I don't know what's going on in that story. So you can be an adult and not have to do every single thing that you are responsible for. Because part
Mhm.
of being an adult is just making sure that the things that you're responsible for gets done. If you then say, I don't want to worry about any of it anymore, then you're leaving that responsibility to someone else. And that's not good adulting.
Yeah.
And then specifically, the specifics don't really matter. Like if you want to have this home cooked meal versus this fast food meal, that doesn't really matter. You're eating to a standard that you're okay with at the moment.
And but you also you have the ability to choose
Yeah,
what makes you happy and
yeah,
what you want to eat. Whether it's a good decision health-wise, it's really going to be up to you.
yep. Because you could have
That matters.
a nice big home cooked meal, and you weren't responsible for it. You were given it. You didn't choose it. You were provided that meal by your parents.
Mhm.
That's not adulting. That's just eating. You know what I mean? Eating was given to you. Yeah.
Interesting perspective for sure. So how do you start adulting? Like, so if you didn't know where to start and you said, you know what, Pekins, Deniqua, I want to do better. I'm I need some improvement in my adulting. What would you say?
Okay. To start adulting, I'm actually going to piggyback off of what you said because I like it. To start adulting, you need to take responsibility for your life, and you need to be responsible for what happens. So plan out what needs to happen so that other people aren't left with that responsibility. And then you need money as a resource and you have limited amounts of money unless you're rich. If you're completely rich and money's not an issue, then whatever, spend it on whatever. But if you're like most of us and you have a finite amount of money, you need to budget that so that you can still do everything that you need to do with the amount of resources that you have. Speaking of resources, be resourceful. Look and see what is already out there for you that can benefit you and your life to make your life easier. Like getting an instant pot so that you can just press a few buttons and then you have a full meal in a few minutes.
Or even just like if you, so depending on your financial situation, like you can do like meal prep and have your like food delivered. You can do those box foods. I don't know, what are they called, like Hello Fresh or something. The ones that where the food gets delivered to your door and then you
Hmm.
still make it, but they like basically did the grocery shopping
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
tell you like how to make the meal.
Hmm.
Here's all the ingredients. I
Hmm.
think those are pretty cool. And like just different ways to figure out how to get that increasing responsibility and you being able to basically move towards being more responsibly independent. Is
Yeah.
that what we decided
Yep,
it
that's the one.
was?
That's the one. I mean, you got to use whatever works. Ask people who are already adulting, what do they use? And then you don't have to use what they use or do what they do, but you can learn from their experiences and then figure out what works best for you.
Hmm.
So if someone uses just looks at their budget by looking at a whole bunch of receipts and whatever, and you prefer
And spreadsheets and stuff.
spreadsheets and stuff like that, and you prefer to use like an app like Mint, then
Where like literally like every transaction is just like automatically like uploaded and then you can set a budget and they like send you notifications when you're over budget and it helps keep you on track if you aren't as like if you know you're going to be awful with spreadsheets, like you probably need to just get an app if that's something you want to do because
mhm,
it's they take out like a lot of the manual aspect. Like once you upload your bank, it's all the transactions are in there and then you can actually kind of see like month to month, like if your spending is too high in a certain category, because you can categorize them. So let's say grocery shopping and restaurants, you had a certain amount of money that you wanted to spend in that category. If you went over by $100, you would be able to see that and then do better next month. And, you know, being able to be notified does make a huge difference.
yep. Before this episode, we were looking at how to adult like on Google, and so some of it was just
Some of it we weren't doing. We were like, I don't know. I
are
like
we
this.
adults
Yeah.
still?
What was it? Like you had to like it was the second one. No, the first one was like what was it? High yield savings. We are doing that one. But then the second one was like some kind of investment account that we hadn't heard of. I don't
I
know.
don't even know.
It made us intimidated, I will say. So just, you know, as you begin to do your research, if you are interested in researching some ways where you can just improve what you're currently doing, just just go easy on yourself if some of the things you're seeing you're like, what is
Yeah.
this?
Don't beat yourself up because it's following someone else's list. But to
Hmm.
make it fun, I'm gonna read some of the stuff that we saw.
All right.
So I think this is like the second result on
This is the
Google.
better result. This was the one that is easier and it relates more to the general, you know,
Man,
average person.
some of this I can't even say
We'll start at the top.
because it's not appropriate. Okay.
We'll just tell them the
All
second
right. So
one.
the first one, exercise daily. We don't exercise daily.
Daily.
I mean, you adulted today. You worked out, but I didn't.
Mm-mm. That didn't
Wait,
work out.
you didn't.
No,
Oh
so
man, the
this
days are just blending together.
so this
You
this
worked out
past
yesterday.
week
You didn't adult today.
so this past week I worked out 3 times. So proud of myself. But like this says exercise daily. Like that's really, really hard. Like even for people who do exercise all the time.
Hmm.
But I will say the amount, like you define what the exercise looks like. So if you go for a 10-minute walk in the morning to clear your head, especially if
Like
you're
me.
still like if you're working from home, like and you want to kind of transition into work mode from like home
Yep.
sleep mode, like a 10-minute walk, like you can just walk up and down the street and come back and that could be enough to tell your body like, okay, like we're changing shifts.
Yeah.
um
Yeah. Because I think a big part of a big part of being responsible is also taking care of not just your physical health, but your mental health. So if you need to clear your head, which I love to do, or I need to do, I think, um, I'll go for a quick walk and clear my head because no one else is going to clear my head for me. That's something that I have to take responsibility for so that I can perform um, um, at my best.
And you know what? I think that's a real thing about like moving your body and that improving like your mental well-being, that
Hmm.
that physical movement, does something to your just entire body,
Yep.
that movement.
So can we agree to this one? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we can agree that it's something to strive towards.
Okay.
Exercising regularly. I'm taking
Got
out the
it.
daily because that's hard.
Yeah, yeah,
Because we
yeah.
all move daily, but we can't consider that exercising.
I moved. Oh man.
So let's just say exercise regularly, and you define what that looks like in your life.
And take care of your mental health.
Mhm.
That's important.
Yeah.
Okay, so that one's good. Stop looking for handouts. It says from
Ooh.
mom, dad, the government, friends, and rich relatives.
This one's a little controversial because I know that at times we can feel like it's deserved, especially if we know sometimes other people are getting handouts, even if it's from your family. So, like, let's say you have other siblings and your siblings have gotten more. Like, if you're younger, in prior years, they've gotten things that you haven't gotten. You got to remember to stop like doing a comparison
Hmm.
and just focus on the things you can do for yourself now
Yeah,
because you are an adult.
yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah.
Too harsh?
Um, no, I think it looks different for different people though.
What do you mean?
Um, so I think if you just expect that things will happen without you putting any work and you remove yourself from the planning, then you should probably change that.
No, this is just talking about like handouts, um like for example, if your parents gave you your car and then let's say like something happened, your engine went or something, and you're like, well, my parents gave me my last car, like I should
Yeah,
get another one.
yeah.
Like
Oh,
that's
that sounds
that's
bratty.
that's another hand,
Cause
like
cause
you're saying, well, maybe my siblings got a car after this happened to them.
mhm.
It's expected. I'm expecting this to happen.
Yeah, I
That's
don't.
where the handout is.
I,
The
I
same thing like the government or your friends, or if you have rich relatives, if you know your relatives have a lot of money and you're just like, hey, I need some money,
yeah,
instead of you hustling harder, you may say, like, hey, I know you have this money.
yeah.
Can you just give me some?
I think that sort of entitlement can lead to laziness
Hmm.
and the release of
It
responsibility.
says take care of yourself and be self reliant.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, okay. I think that's a good one.
yeah.
Stop looking for handouts. It's okay to receive gifts and receive handouts, but if you're just expecting that this will just keep happening, regardless of what you do, I don't think that's a
It's
good way
it's
to
one of
live.
those things. Gifts are nice, but should you expect a gift? Mm,
No,
mm-mm.
no. Okay. Listen more than you speak. What are they trying to say here? This
Shut
is
up.
so no one really cares about your opinion. So listen to others and provide value when possible. No one likes that guy who only talks about
They're just
himself.
saying don't talk just to talk, because some people do that sometimes, and they're just saying make sure that you're actually providing value when you open your mouth.
Hmm. And that contributes to adulting. I wonder why they mentioned that.
They're more saying listen.
Hmm. It is good to listen. You learn a lot more that way. Yeah,
But like that's just life skills,
it
because
is.
in relationships, in the workplace, like these are all times when you have to be an active listener.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm good with that one.
Okay,
Because when
listen.
you listen, you can gain more resources, you can gain more experience, more knowledge, and all of that,
And
and
you
that
can learn from
contributes.
others.
You can learn from others, and that contributes to you becoming an adult. Yes, sleep 8 hours a night. That's not always possible. I mean, like if you can do it, sleep is great. Do 8 hours,
I love
but
sleep.
I think this
Sleep is
past
wonderful.
week I didn't get more than 6 hours per night.
That's really bad.
It is bad. It's
And
bad.
he's probably not even going to get that tonight also.
No, it is 4 in the morning.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we record in the middle of the night while our son's sleeping, and for some reason just this week like it was just so hard to like get things done. This was a tougher week than some of ours in the past.
Yeah, but
But there's always next week.
yeah, and it's good. It's the weekend. We're not going anywhere. Well, you are.
Yeah.
You're going somewhere. Anyway, okay. So I think for the sleep, and Gary Vee talks about this too. I love that guy. I think I'd like to meet him one day.
Yeah, for sure.
Gary Vee, if you're watching, let me not be. He's not watching this. Yeah, but he talks about this. He says a lot of people expect that I just work, and don't sleep. And I probably sleep for like 2 hours or 1 hour a night, and then I go right back to hustling and working hard.
Mhm.
But he said that actually it's quite the opposite. He works really hard, but he also sleeps so that he can get refreshed and then have a sharp mind. Because if you're just dragging your feet around, because you do need sleep, you are human, you require sleep. It's best for you to recharge, get a great night's sleep, and then tomorrow you get a better head start on the day. You have more clarity. You can be a more responsible adult with better sleep.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And some people they can make do with less. I like more personally. But yeah, sleep's important. Some people
Mhm.
take naps. Some people have to take naps.
Yeah,
It sounds crazy, but
yeah.
your body gets used to things and wants
Mhm.
it, and you can't function the same way without sleep. So
Yep.
it's
So we
important.
agree with the sleep.
Yeah.
Sleep. You gotta sleep to be a good,
It doesn't
responsible adult.
necessarily need to be 8
Yeah.
hours, but
Yeah.
sleep is a priority. You can't do those all-nighters like you used to. Like you
Mhm.
need to sleep. It's
Yeah.
part of your well-being, like your health.
Mhm.
So we talked a little bit about the walking and the mental, but like
Yep.
your body, so much happens when you sleep. Your body is like healing and recovering, and like your brain is doing things.
Yep.
So you need to sleep in order to continue to be that, what do we call it? The responsibly independent adult.
Yep. Responsibly independent. These next ones are good. Educate yourself daily.
What's that look like to you?
To me, it means like not relying on someone else to figure things out for me. And it also means constantly growing so that I can be a resource to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
I need to constantly be a good resource to you, to my son,
Yeah.
to my colleagues, to my friends. I feel useful when when I'm a resource, and the only way I can become a good resource is to educate myself. If I remain stagnant, then I'm not helping anybody, especially myself.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can find like something that you love to learn it and become great at it to your by your standards.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just keep those gears running, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And and I think like when it says educate yourself daily, it doesn't mean that you have to
Read a book a day.
yeah, you don't have to read a book a day. You don't have to learn crazy things. But like personally, this is gonna sound so weird, but for some reason, I just love random facts. And I remember I got this like little like book thing. What was it? A fact a day or something. One of
Mhm.
those like, I don't know, like calendar stores. And I used to love just like flipping open the page and like, oh my gosh, like that's so crazy, unclaimed baggage. Like at the airports, you know what I mean? Just like
Mhm.
random facts. And like I was actually learning stuff. And like
Mhm.
some of the things I still remember, but it's like that to me was my version of educating myself
Yep.
daily. And like someone else, that could literally mean reading a quote a day or just looking at the news in the morning. Like you can literally define like what that means for you.
Yep. Also, like one of the main differences between a baby and an adult is an adult knows more.
Learn more over the
Yeah,
course of
they've
their life.
learned more. They just know a lot more than the baby does. The baby, because they don't know anything or not much, they rely on an adult or someone else that knows more to provide for them and to figure things out for them. So the more you learn, the more you could figure things out for yourself. So keep educating yourself,
Yeah.
however that looks to you. Spend less. Wait, so we're good with that? We like that one?
Yeah, I think it's something, if you don't like do it per se, it's something to strive towards. And one thing is important to mention, like we in the workplace, we're learning things every day.
Mm-hmm.
So don't beat yourself up if you're not learning things outside of work, because you literally spend so many hours of your
Yeah.
day literally learning things.
Yep.
When you're in meetings with other people and they're telling you something about something you didn't know, or you're working on a project with someone from a different department, or just in your own department, you get an email and you're going back and forth. Let's say you have an issue with your computer and your IT is explaining something to you. You just learned something.
Yeah. I am constantly learning at my job, and it helps. I guess it helps me feel um grounded, I guess. Like it just makes me feel like there's a challenge waiting for me. So I need to keep learning
It gives you
so that
that
I
purpose. You
yeah, so
like
that I can
that.
feel valued. I
Mhm.
need to continue to learn and grow.
Mhm.
Um
So that you can continue to be an asset.
exactly. Exactly.
But you know what? I would say the educating yourself daily, if you're educating yourself and the things that you are learning specifically apply to your work, it's really important that you are actually able to apply your learning. So
Mm,
it's you really, if possible, need to take that a step further and not just educate yourself, but be able to apply all of that knowledge that you're learning to future scenarios, because that's going to help you to continue to develop as an individual.
what do you mean by that?
So, like for example, your job. So, like as you are learning every day, and
Mm-hmm.
you learn, I don't know, some code or something, or you encounter a specific issue,
Mm-hmm.
because you encountered that issue, you now will apply what you've learned in that previous situation if it ever happens again.
Mm,
So it's like it's not enough to just learn it.
yep.
If you are able, you should be able to apply it to future situations.
Yeah. Okay. So here's an example. Troubleshooting. So if I need to troubleshoot some code because I'm a web developer, I have to do that all the time. If I'm troubleshooting some code, um, that troubleshooting time can take 2 minutes or it can take 2 weeks. You don't know which one
Oh man,
until you
you get in
troubleshoot
there.
it. So one thing that I've learned that can kind of be taken outside of that context and applied elsewhere is give yourself enough time and then some for to deliver a task that you're unsure of.
So you have a deadline, and make sure that you work on it so that you have enough time
Yeah,
and buffer.
give yourself some buffer time. Like it doesn't
But
mean
that's
that
something you applied your learning. There was an instance where you didn't have buffer,
correct.
and
I
you
had to
didn't
learn.
you didn't finish the project in time.
Exactly. Exactly. It was a
Yeah.
tough lesson to learn, and I don't want that to happen again because I like if I feel like I can't deliver something, I feel so bad.
Mhm.
I feel like a failure. So I need to or that's something that I've learned um and that I can apply elsewhere. So whether that is it's going to look completely different for whatever job you do, but think about the things that you can apply elsewhere outside of your job, removed from a specific context, and allow that to help you grow continuously.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so we like education. Education is a big one
Mhm.
for adulting. We're getting there. We're creating a list how to be an adult. Um, spend less than you earn. How
Mm.
important is that? Kind of, not really. So do you spend what you earn?
No, you need to spend less than you earn, specifically because you won't be able to, if something comes up, at least not easily, you won't be able to pay for any emergencies, any sudden things that you need to put your money towards.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if you spend what you earn or more than you earn, you're kind of setting yourself up. And it kind of ties back to the planning.
Mm-hmm.
You have to plan, you have to try to have some forethought. Something could happen. I need to have X amount of money available just in case my car goes suddenly, or, something's wrong with it, or I have a sudden medical bill.
Mm,
You can't necessarily expect that one of your family members or a friend will be able to help you out,
yeah,
because if they all say no, then what?
you're stuck.
Yeah. Have
Yeah.
to get a high interest loan and hopefully pay it off quickly, use a bunch of credit cards.
Hmm.
You'll have to scramble. So having the ability to save at least a little bit
Yeah.
will help give you that flexibility, and
Yeah.
you won't necessarily be in the same situation.
Yeah. That's definitely something that everyone should, um,
Strive towards.
yeah, strive towards. Like just financial literacy, looking at your finances and knowing what you can do with it. Because if you don't know how far your money can go, you don't know um, what you can do with your money without breaking the bank, then you're not really being responsible with your money.
Yeah.
And if you're not being responsible with your money, you won't be able to obtain all the things that your money can acquire because you only have a limited amount of money.
Hmm.
So this last one is have goals. Is that important for an adult?
Yeah. Personally, I think so. Just saying like have goals, to me, that sounds like you're planning and you have a vision for your future.
Mm-hmm.
So like even if your goal is something simple like I'm gonna make it to work on time
Mm-hmm.
every every day this week.
Yeah.
That's you're planning and you're setting a goal for yourself to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think your goals can be small, your goals can be large, your goals could be save $10,000 by this time, your goals
Mm-hmm.
could be I'm going to be the CEO of this company by this time. You get to define what your goals are,
Yep.
but having something to strive towards is really important as
Yeah.
a just as a person.
Yeah, I think you don't even need to achieve all those goals, but I think having goals can help propel you forward regardless.
Mhm.
You know, like growing up, my parents would always sit us down. I said this in the first episode as well. They,
Because it's so important to you.
it is so important, yeah, because they would sit us down and then they'd ask us, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And we'd probably change our minds like every single time because we just want to give an answer. But
Mhm.
that's okay because once we give an answer, we kind of have to take responsibility for that answer that we give, and it gives us something to strive towards.
Mhm.
So when I was in college, I switched my major so many times. But throughout all those changes, I still kept on taking classes because I had something to study for. The minute that I have nothing to study for, I'm done. What do I need to be here
Yeah.
for? So definitely choose something
Some
to
some kind of
to
goal for yourself that you can work towards,
yeah.
whether small, whether large,
Mhm.
even just how I said I had a goal of working out 3 times last week. Like
Yep.
that was my goal. I was like, I really want to do this. And a part of it was just I had a goal of actually, like, if I can wake up and get out of bed, I'm good.
Mhm.
But if I open my eyes and I say, no way, I'm not going. That's the thing. So my goal was to get up, get out of bed, and make it to the gym.
Yeah.
And I was able to measure that, and I, made it 3 times.
Yep. So follow those tips and you'll be okay. You know what I mean? You
I mean,
might
they'll
not.
be okay regardless. Like if they want to Google some of these lists, but it is nice to be able to provide you guys with some of our perspective on
Yep.
some of these topics, because it's adulting is hard, guys.
Adulting can be hard. Yeah. Um, but equip yourself with the right resources, the right perspective, believe in yourself, have
Hmm.
goals, and then get down to the specifics. Just get those main things. Like take responsibility of your life, plan it out, know how much is coming in and how much is going out, and you'll be good.
Yeah.
Cause at the end of the day, you'll just keep on learning anyway and figuring out a better way to do something that you're responsible for.
And you know what? I just want to say, like, so this whole episode was about adulting, and we just need to recognize that you don't have to learn everything you need to know to be an adult immediately.
Hmm.
Just because you turn 18 doesn't mean that you now are, officially held to some standard of needing to do everything completely right for the rest of your life. Like, we all make mistakes. We all do things, differently than we had planned, and giving yourself the grace and the flexibility to change your mind, to do something completely wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to move forward from that and also apply your learning so that whatever happened in that previous situation that was undesirable, it doesn't happen again. I think that is really your biggest takeaway, is that
Mm-hmm.
you need to be like, as you learn more, if you know better, you should do better now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Don't be too hard on yourself. Just figure things out at your pace. As long as it's your pace, it's your decision, you are an adult.
Exactly.
You know. Okay, so with that said, let's get into the money of the day. The money for the day.
So the money for the day is actually a quote. This quote is by Theodore Roosevelt. It is, "Comparison is the thief of joy." So to me, what that means is really just celebrate where you are in your life, and don't worry about where other people are, and the goals they have for their life. Focus on your vision for your life, where you want to be, and you will be happy as you work towards that.
Yep.
Your friends, your family members, they have a different path. So be happy for them on their path as as they learn and they grow and they progress in life. And you focus on yours, keep your eyes forward on your path, and, continue to strive to achieve whatever you set out to.
Yep. Absolutely. I'm the visual guy, so I'm gonna try to give like an analogy.
Okay, yeah.
So life is like a roller coaster, right?
Uh-huh.
At one point in your life, you're going to be going up high, and then another point you'll be going on the dip. And then I don't like roller coasters, by the way. But anyway, you love roller coasters.
I do love roller coasters.
Yeah, but in this case, for this analogy, I like roller
I
coasters.
can help your analogy.
Okay, so at one point you're going up really high and everything looks great. It looks like the life that everyone would want to have. But
You can see out into the horizon. You can see everything.
your favorite part.
It's
But that the like where you are in life, it doesn't always remain stagnant. It's constantly moving. There's constant dips. So expect that there will be a dip after the high. And that's okay. It doesn't have to stay in the dip, but that's life. So at some point, another point in your life, you will go down in a dip, something will go wrong. But what happens is someone else that's looking from afar, they don't necessarily have a 360 view of your entire life and just see everything about your life, the good, the bad, the ugly. They might only see you at your high because they've already walked away upset that they're not up high like you are. So that will kill that person's joy because they're comparing themselves, because they're on the ground and they're saying, at that point in that guy's life, he is all the way up there and I'm not. But you know what? It doesn't stay that way. And if you are at a low point, you can end up getting to a high point as well by your standards. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, it's really interesting the way you put that. But I think you could even like take it a step further. So if you are that roller coaster and you are at your low, and when you go on roller coasters, how they have multiple cars going at a time. So you could be at your low and you could be looking forward to the next roller coaster, and they could be at their high, and you could be thinking, I wish I was there right now. And you could be so focused on where they're at and not realizing that you will get your high soon too.
And you might not enjoy it.
Yeah.
Is that what you meant? So you might not even enjoy you being at a high point in your life because you're still comparing to someone else that's either higher
or they had their high point earlier and their high point looked good. And,
Yeah.
you know, you're just worried about someone else instead of being grateful for where you're at in your life right now.
Yeah.
Because somebody would probably love to be in your shoes right now.
Yeah. But if you don't know everything involved in that person's life, you can't just replace you with that person and expect to be happy. Because what makes one person happy will not necessarily make another person happy.
Mhm.
So don't compare yourself to someone else. Compare where you are with your life based on, compare where you are in your life with what you wanted your life to be, what you wanted your life to be, and
Mhm.
your goals and your visions, and let that propel you forward.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
an awesome note.
Oh, thank you. All right. So we're if you're listening on one of the podcast platforms, we just started this, but we're also doing it on video. So please watch our video on YouTube. Even if you don't have a YouTube account, you don't go on YouTube, please just go on there, like it, subscribe, and comment.
Yeah.
Because we're just starting out, we need that engagement, guys. And if you're listening on Spotify or anywhere else, also go on Apple Podcasts and review us if you can, because I guess they're the only ones that do reviews, right?
You can follow on Spotify.
So follow us on Spotify.
You can subscribe and review on Apple. YouTube, you can subscribe, comment, and like videos. And I don't know about Google.
Yeah. So just, show us some love, and so that we can take this show to another level and we can continue doing this, because it'll make us feel good and that'll motivate us to keep doing more episodes.
Yeah, and since you listened to the end, so we definitely truly appreciate you guys for listening. And yes, so stay tuned for our next episodes. And
Yeah, we're gonna figure out ways to we're gonna figure out ways to make our viewers and audience feel good, like shout outs and stuff like that. So that's all coming, and we'll let you know details on all of that.
Yeah, guys, we're so excited. And also follow us on social media if you haven't already. That's where we post a lot of the things leading up to our episodes. And yeah, you can just really engage with us on those platforms.
Okay.
So Facebook, Instagram, and all that.
All right, so we've tackled the topic of adulting. Hopefully this was helpful in your journey.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode, so I do
Yeah.
hope you guys did too. And we actually learned a lot about ourselves a little bit too.
Mhm.
And I remembered that I didn't know how to cook.
But you do now. You do now.
But I do now. That's what's most
Yep.
important.
Your
I'm
way, and
looking
it
forward,
tastes
guys.
great.
Yep. The way I envision my life, it's happening.
Yep. All right. Thanks everyone for joining.
Bye, guys.